Hello and welcome to Nerd vs. World, episode 79. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nerd. I'm Brendan.
And I'm Spindles.
And on today's show we have so much to talk about.
We do.
I don't know how we're going to fit it all in.
With a crowbar.
We've got our Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 review. There is how I felt after the end of my Star Wars Day movie marathon. We have Doctor Who being fucking awesome.
And the awesomeness that is American Gods.
Yeah. And we got sent a festival screener for a short film called Eddie as well, which we've just had a watch before the show.
And a whole bunch of other stuff. Blade Runner trailers, amongst other things. So, yes, we have a fuck ton to try and crowbar into the show.
That is the correct metric.
The metric fuck ton.
Yeah. So where shall we start?
Where shall we start? Oh, well, okay, let's do Guardians first, because it's the easiest, and I assume we both agree that it is one of the finest things we've seen in a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's quite easily as good as the first one, if not better.
I thought it significantly outpaced the first one in terms of a lot of things.
I think the only downside for me is that it put me in the position where I have to work out which of the previous top 5 Marvel films now have to shove
out the way for Guardians
drop
2.
out of the top 5, because Guardians 2 is definitely in my top 5.
Would it kick out Guardians from the top 5, or is it something else like Iron Man 3 or something that it would shove it out?
It's probably Iron Man, the first Iron Man.
Okay.
I still rate Ant-Man as better.
Okay.
But yeah, no, Guardians Volume 2 is the first 10 out of 10 film I've seen since The Last Guardians. Yeah. If I'm completely honest.
No, and fair play on that. I mean, it had everything. And I've got to, particularly I was really impressed with the I don't know, what is the technical term for it? The youngening of Kurt Russell?
Yeah. The Benjamin Buttoning. Oh, no. Benjamin Buttoning's the other way, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So it's the anti-Benjamin Buttoning of Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I'm sure there's a technical term for it, so if anyone knows the technical term, please let us know what it is. I would say it's the N-youngening.
The N-youngening. N-youngening feels like it should be a thing.
I think it should. But I thought it was done a lot better and looked a lot less forced and a lot less CGI than I've seen in a lot of films of late, Rogue One included, and
Tron 2.
Yeah, Tron 2, and also Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War.
Yeah. Yeah, when he's flashing back to his presentation. Yeah.
So I think it's the best version of showing a much younger version of an actor. I thought it was awesome. It looked flawless.
Yeah. Which could be said about the film as a whole.
It
was visually stunning. I'd been playing around with the idea of writing a review for it, because I always mean to write reviews about the films I see, but never quite get around to it. But I've been knocking drafts back and forward due for a bit. We've spoken on the show before about how some of the best Marvel films are the ones that take a normal genre film and just apply a superhero lens to it. And we've said that Ant-Man's a heist film. Winter Soldier is a Cold War spy drama. Yeah. That's why they work so well. They've already got the story there, and you already have this sort of cultural memory of what that film should do, so you see it and you watch it in that regards. And the fact that it's a superhero film is neither here nor there.
It's secondary to it. The key thing is those thematic elements.
Guardians 2, I think I mentioned this to you briefly on an email, feels like a callback to the Cameron Crowe, John Hughes, White Sausage films.
Yeah. Family movies. Yeah.
That's what it is.
A journey of discovery.
It's all about the relationships between the characters. It's a very personal film set in a very vast universe.
Yeah.
And incredibly well done. A few people have mentioned it to me, and I tend to agree, that James Gunn handles the ensemble cast better than Whedon does especially in Age of Ultron. Maybe not so much the original Avengers, but Age of Ultron for sure. And every single character got moments of development, even new ones like Mantis. They all got those little bits of extra depth to their character. I was especially glad to see that Nebula got some.
Very much so, because I think we said previously that Nebula was criminally underused in the first Guardians film, and it was great to see her have a much bigger part, and also the hint that she's going on to something even bigger after this as well.
Yeah. I mean, and again, interestingly, there's some really unusual themes being touched on for the sort of film that it is. I mean, I think an IO9 article mentioned it this week, that actually that Nebula and Gamora conversation touches on themes of like child abuse. Like the parental figure of Thanos doing what he did to the two of them. But that's what I like about James Gunn. He's not afraid to tackle these sort of things and put them into a film like this in a way that he can tell the story. But yeah.
I think he does a very good job of building Thanos up as a bad guy, not just because he is, this massive intergalactic creature that has the Infinity Stones and stuff, but because he was a shit dad, and he was unpleasant to his children.
Yeah.
And I think that makes it a lot more personal and makes him a lot more dislikable as a bad guy, and I think that's great.
Yeah, and the whole theme of bad fathers is something that runs through the movie. Like, you've got Thanos to Gamora and Nebula, and you've got
it's the bad versus the good father. And then you have the character of Yondu, who is ultimately redeemed.
Yeah. No, I swear to God, if you did not cry...
Oh, I know, yeah. If you didn't, you have no heart whatsoever.
You have a heart of stone. Yeah. Like, that was super emotional.
Yeah, it was. And I think that's the main thing about the film, is it was one of those things... One of those kind of films that you are flitting between laughing out loud, crying with laughter, crying with sadness, feeling emotional for the characters. There were big highs and big lows, and it was, it much as it's a cliched term, it was a roller coaster ride of emotion throughout the entire film, and it was so well done.
Yeah, I don't feel like my usual go-to complaint for a film. Like, if I'm trying to review a film and I think I can't be too overly gushy about it, I usually look at pacing. As a very last resort, I look at pacing to see if it's well paced. And I couldn't find fault with Guardians there. It slowed down in places, but when it did so for a reason. It did so to let Drax and Mantis have a conversation, or to let Ego and Star-Lord have a conversation.
Or to let Rocket and Yondu have a conversation. That, for me, was one of the finest moments of the film, was the conversation between Rocket and Yondu.
When Yondu sees Rocket in himself.
Yeah, I thought that was utterly amazing. Yeah. That was such a wonderful scene, because it had been building up to it with Rocket being unpleasant to everyone and pushing everyone away, and then Yondu just affronting with it was just perfect.
Yeah, it's like the janitor and Bender in Breakfast Club.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is why I'm getting the John Hughes vibe from the whole film.
Yeah, totally.
But, yeah, it was awesome. It was a big-hearted film.
Yeah, definitely. And that's not even touching on kind of Drax and his kind of childish innocence and the way that he was portrayed as a character, and his reactions to certain circumstances in the film, again, made him a much bigger character.
Drax was the real MVP of the movie, I'm sorry, but...
I would agree with you.
I have legendarily large turds is a line that...
you not only feel, but...
hashtag can relate, But yeah, no, it was start to finish, an incredible journey. I would say, aside from altering my top 5, if I did have one small gripe, it would be the soundtrack didn't feel quite as strong as the first one.
I don't think it ever could. And I think that's just because of how important that soundtrack was in the first film. And I think, that the whole Awesome Mix Volume 2, while it was a nice thing, I think it shouldn't have been focused on quite so much in this film. I think it was great. What I loved was the giving him the iPod and everything, and that has thousands of songs on it, and that's great. We had the Zoo or whatever. Yeah, the Zoo. Do you know my first ever MP3 player? I bought this. It was in 2000, and it was it by Creative? It was a Creative Rio, I think it was called, the MP3 Rio, and it had 56 meg of memory.
Wow.
I could store 9 songs on it.
Wow.
And some fucker stole it from me in a pub.
Jesus.
And it had 9 corn tracks on it. And it had a proprietary cable to it. So whoever stole that thing is stuck with the same fucking 9 corn tracks, and I hope you choked on them.
Good. Yeah.
Sorry, that was an aside.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, soundtrack not quite as strong, but the tracks that were the strongest were synced perfectly. Mr. Blue Sky at the start was just an absolute stroke of fucking genius. And if you had any doubts going into about whether it was going to be as good as the first one, as soon as that song starts and that combat starts with that song background, it was just. I was sold. Like,
I think that whole title sequence opening was just it was phenomenal. I loved the way that, you know, they've basically blown a fuck ton of budget filming this massive action scene and then just blurred the whole thing out.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking brilliant.
That's awesome.
That for me is Marvel going, look, we can do this. Fuck you all. And I think that's genius.
Yeah.
For a company to be that comfortable with where they are in current pop culture, I think is genius.
Yeah. And then, of course, The Chain by Fleetwood Mac and Father and Son by Cat Stevens. And like Father and Son by Cat Stevens, the sync on that track, the choice of its moments in the movie was absolutely perfect. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, 10 out of 10. Like, James Gunn has done it again. I'd like to say he's bottled lightning twice with these 2 films, but that would be unfair to James Gunn. He's bottled lightning a lot more than that. Go and watch Super. Go and watch Slither.
Hell yeah, Super is a fucking amazing film. Nathan Fillion's in Slither, isn't it? Slither, yeah.
Hell, go on YouTube and watch his PG porn series.
Yeah.
Like, anything James Gunn touches has just been phenomenal for many years.
I guess my only concern is, once again, it's set the bar very, very high for the rest of the movies to follow.
Yeah, but he's already started writing Volume 3.
But that's great, but that doesn't help us for the rest of this current phase of Marvel movies that he's not involved in.
Yeah,
and I think that's what I mean by it's kind of, you know, it's set the bar very, very high for where they need to go next, and given the next movie is a potentially troublesome Spider-Man outing. And then you have Thor Ragnarok that we seem to have waited forever for.
Thor Ragnarok is going to be fucking spectacular.
I really hope it is, because it feels like it's the one that we've waited the longest for. It feels like we've literally heard nothing from Thor since he disappeared after the end of the second Avengers movie. And we've had no hint as to what he's up to or anything, whereas we've seen all the rest of the characters, barring Hulk, since then.
Yeah. He was in the end credits of Doctor Strange, wasn't he? Thor was in the end credit scene.
What was he? I don't remember. I only saw it at the cinema, and I don't remember now.
Speaking of end credit scenes, 5 of the fuckers in Guardians.
Yeah, 5. Okay. So let's talk about this. Right, people. Why the fuck do you still get up and walk out at the end of Marvel movies? What is wrong with you?
People will never learn.
Seriously, what is wrong with you? You know that there's going to be at least one.
And it was well established that there was going to be 5 for this one. So you missed out on quite a few really cool things. You missed out on a teenage Groot being surly in his room.
And that was awesome.
But more importantly, you missed out on Aisha unveiling the message of her plan, which is a golden cocoon with him inside, if you know, or Adam.
It's Adam.
As she calls him. So
she does call him Adam. So we're going to see Adam Warlock soon. It was kind of hinted at the end of Guardians 1 with the cocoon in the collector's thing. Also nice to see Howard the Duck back again.
Yeah, but in an in-film role.
In an in-film reference. And also I think one of the characters that was with Howard the Duck was played by Castle's daughter.
Molly Quinn?
Yeah.
Maybe.
It was, because I saw Molly Quinn's name in the credits. I was like, what the fuck? What was she? And then I looked back and I was like, oh, she was in the scene. Oh, okay. Nice. So, yes, there were a lot of cameos.
Yeah.
A lot. So, okay, let's talk about the big cameo. The Watchers and Stan Lee.
Yeah. So there's two things. One, it kind of establishes the Watchers as part of Marvel canon. That's one way of looking at it. The second way of looking at it is that it's just James Gunn having a tip of the hat to the internet rumours that Stan Lee's cameos in every film are him as a Watcher. I'm not sure which I prefer. Like, we discussed this earlier, like...
Yeah.
If the Watchers are canon, the concern is that they're going to do a Secret Wars, Secret Invasion, Secret Wars sort of universe reboot for Phase 4. And given that they recently announced that the title for Avengers 4 has changed from Infinity Wars Part 2 to an unknown name yet, because it's got a spoiler in it.
It's going to be Avengers Secret War, isn't it?
It could be Avengers Secret Wars. That would be a setup.
Yeah, it will be a setup, and I'm not sure how I feel about, essentially a bomb going off in the middle of the universe and then rewriting it. I honestly don't know how I feel, because I've been saying for a long time now that they keep adding in new characters, but they're not getting rid of any, and they do need to get rid of some.
They do, and they've missed the chance to get rid of two so far.
Yeah.
Like, Captain America should have died in Civil War.
Yeah.
He should have. And he should have come back somehow, because it's a comic universe, so it's possible.
Well,
during the first or second Infinity Wars story. My preference would have been to have had him die in Civil War, have Iron Man retire at the end of number 3, have Thor meet his end in Ragnarok, and then have the new Avengers team of Falcon, Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Scarlet Witch face off against Thanos in Infinity Wars Part 1, fail to do anything, and then have the other guys come back.
Yeah.
But I don't write for Marvel. They don't listen to me.
And I guess it will, it's going to make Avengers 1 hit that Empire note. And I think it needs to. I think it really needs to hit a real down note at some point. Because all of the films so far, they always end on a high and they always set up the next. And I think it really needs that downer note just to go, actually, you know what? We might kill some people off. It might not all be great. You have to stick with it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think a genuine down needs to occur on the screen, because the last few films have dealt with consequences in a way they haven't before, especially Civil War. But until we see a character die, when the Avengers die, we don't get that impact of the consequence, because they're still making the same mistakes. But yeah, we need an Empire ending.
We really do. We need one of these films to just really kick us in the feels and then leave us till the next one.
I think Marvel have built up more than enough.
Don't get me wrong, I think they can quite happily coast along doing exactly what they're doing. I just think, for me, it needs that just to... That will then cement for me that this is, the kind of premier cinema brand.
Yeah.
That, they're not afraid to do that. And I think they need to make that brave decision in killing someone off and just going, no, actually, you know what, that's it.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But that's if the Watchers are canon and we have Secret Wars coming up.
Indeed. Well, in all fairness, irrespective of that, they can do that anyway as part of the Infinity War. Yeah. They can finish the first part of the Infinity War on a massive down note.
Yeah.
And make you come back for more, regardless of what they do.
Yeah, that's which is what I think they should be doing or could be doing.
Yeah.
It just very much depends whether this new title change for this Avengers 4 is because they're making Infinity War fit into one film. But we'll see. We've got a while to go yet before that comes out.
Indeed. But okay, so I guess talking of Empire endings brings us on to talking about this year's Star Wars Day.
Oh my god! I machete ordered it, so I managed.
Okay, now you say you machete ordered it.
Traditional machete order.
Okay, so you didn't include Rogue One.
No.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, I went episode 4, 5, 2, 3, and 6, which was fine.
Did you not hate 2 still?
No, I didn't hate 2. Not as much as 1.
See, I hated 2 more than 1. 1 was just a symbol of destroying everything I'd waited 15 years for.
Yeah.
Whereas 2 was just an atrocious movie. We were talking about it earlier with reference to Spider-Man, how, you know, the most wonderful chemistry scenes between Padme and Anakin are when they're on completely different fucking planets, not in the same room, just gazing wistfully out into the sunset. It's a horrible, horrible movie.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. Like, by that point though, I'd watched 2, so I think I was mostly eating during the second film.
Right, well,
During
because 2 is horrible. 3, I can kind of get behind.
I like 3.
Because, yeah, indeed. 3 has the thing that I was waiting for, which was the battle on Mustafar.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that pretty much every Star Wars fan was waiting for, was that fight at the end of 3.
Yeah.
And that fight at the end of 3 redeemed, you know, in my opinion, it redeemed the entire original trilogy and validated it and gave it a purpose.
3 is great up until...
Apart from
it's apart from that bit.
It's not even just the no bit. It's the whole she's dying of a broken heart. There's nothing we can do about it with all our advanced technology. Shit.
Yeah.
But that's another story.
That's a robot chicken story.
Yeah.
But also, fuck you, because I had fucking bushes of love and seagull stuck in my head. Like, so it gets to the training montage in Empire, and all I can fucking think about is that seagull's track. So I tweet about it, and of course Emma hits me up with fucking bushes of love, which was in my head for 3 days. Okay, 3 days that was stuck in my head.
For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, and if you don't, then I can't believe you missed this so far. You have to check out Bad Lip Reading on YouTube, and I will put the links to it in the show notes for this, because there is the Seagulls, Stop It Now, which is all based around Yoda's training montage in Empire, and a bad lip reading of that about seagulls poking you in the face, and it's utter genius. And then there's another one which is Bushes of Love, which is around Obi-Wan and Luke in episode 4 when they first meet. And both songs are absolute genius. So if you don't know Bad Lip Reading, go and check it out. Watch those 2, and then as a side order, watch all of their Walking Dead ones, because they're all so great.
Bushes of Love is by far the best of the 2 tracks, in my humble opinion. The
chicken head with dark feet.
The production on that track is just insane. I really, really enjoyed it. But yeah, so thank you very much for that. But yeah, no, by the end of the day, I was just absolutely wrecked. I only managed to watch 5 films on Star Wars Day. I then watched episode 7 the following day. But yeah, Machete Order is flawed in a little way. There are connections to episode 1 that you need to see episode 1 for. When Anakin returns to Tatooine to go and kill some sand people, 3PO's there.
Yeah.
First time we see him in this film, and he knows Anakin, there's definitely a pre-existing connection there, so you kind of do need to watch Phantom Menace. It doesn't...
I think what you need is you need a supercut of episodes 1, 2 and 3 that start out with 2, have a little bit of a flashback to what happened in 1 to establish a couple of facts. Yeah. And then cut back to the rest of... I'd want to cut out most of 2 and just go straight into 3.
Also, I don't think that's the way that I would introduce it to... Like, if I have... You know, God willing, I have kids of my own one day, or like my nieces and my nephews, and they're old enough to watch Star Wars, I don't think Machete Order is the way I would introduce it to them. Like, I think I would just go 4, 5, 6.
Well, indeed, and that's the way that I always will go. I will always show people 4, 5 and 6, because that's how it started.
Yeah.
And then you can watch the rest of it as an expanded universe.
Because going 4, 5, and then 2 to 3 is fine. Going back to 6 after 3...
It will feel wrong.
It does feel wrong.
Yeah, and it will do, because because they have a totally different feel to it. Those original movies focused way too much on the effects that were possible and not the heart of the film. And that's what loses it, because, Jedi, for the fact, for all its failures with a bunch of Muppets in it...
You know what? I really like Jedi.
No, I love it.
I love it.
I love it, and it, I have the most firm memories in my mind of any Star Wars film seeing them at the cinema. And Jedi is the one that is the most vivid in my mind going to see it at the cinema.
And Jedi was the one that most TV stations still had the license for when I was growing up. So that was on more often at Christmas than the other Star Wars films.
So, it has a lot of heart as a film. And when you view it through a lens, and specifically, I don't watch any of the special edition versions.
Yeah.
I only watch the theatrical versions because that's what I grew up watching.
Yeah.
And George, I appreciate that wasn't particularly your vision at the time, but I like what you did the first time round, so stick with that. I love it.
But yeah, so that's how I do it in future. Like, it was fun to watch Machete Order and to make a big deal of it, but actually the disconnect between 3 and 6 was a little bit too much for me. And also I was fucking knackered. And I've got like nearly 2 minutes of Snapchat videos of myself during the day, and I might put the video up on YouTube or Twitter at some point. But yeah, I showed people at work and I was just absolutely wrecked by the end of it. But hashtag worth it. And also, we didn't talk last time about Celebration, did we?
No.
Star Wars Celebration was about a month ago now. And if you get a chance to go on YouTube and watch some of the panels, I'd highly recommend it. I'd especially watch the tribute to Carrie Fisher, because it's beautifully done. And the 40 Years of Star Wars panel, because there's some great guests on there, as you'd imagine. But at the end of it, John Williams comes out with his orchestra and plays Leia's theme. And I was blubbing like a little baby. So emotional. And then, of course, they had the Last Jedi panel and the new trailer. Which is good, but it didn't resonate with me as emotionally as the first Force Awakens trailer. I think because we haven't waited years and years and years for a Star Wars film.
And that was the thing, yeah. So I think, we'd all waited, well, me personally, I think I'd waited since 1986 and reading the Jedi comics, and I remember reading in the news articles at the end of that they were planning to make 3 other films after it. So I've been waiting since 1986 to see what happened in the Force Awakens trailer. Yeah. So there is no way that anything was going to hit that same level with me.
No. But people are analysing what Luke says in this trailer, and he says it's time for the Jedi to end. It's really well cut together, and it seems to be him saying, there's only one thing I know to be true. It's time for the Jedi to end. But if you go back and watch the trailer again, there's a big pause between the 2 bits as the scenes transition, and then the reverb on the vocal is totally different from one part to the next. I don't think they're going to be a full sentence in the finished film. My initial belief was we're going to see some grey Jedi.
Well, I think we're going to see a lot of Jedi, and I think this was it was something that was hinted at and then confirmed in the international titles of the films. So it's when in French it's referred to as Les Derniers Jedi, which is in the plural.
Yeah.
So it's not the last singular Jedi, it is about everyone who's left.
Except Rian Johnson has said it isn't.
Well,
Rian Johnson has said it's singular and it's the last Jedi.
But it can't be because of the international titles.
But we could see the Grey Paladins, the Grey Knights. Or it could simply be that when he says that in the film, it's right at the beginning, before Rey's had a chance to convince him otherwise. Because it's a really fucking good hook for a trailer to end on.
Oh god, yeah.
And it's got people talking, which is the whole point of the trailer.
That is the whole point, and generating hype for the film and stuff, so...
Yes.
Here we are dissecting it.
Yeah, but also, if you saw the Rogue One trailers, massive swathes of those trailers didn't make it into the movie. So we'll see what happens with The Last Jedi. But yeah, that's just a very quick catch-up, because that's saturated in the news now. You can go anywhere and find that stuff.
And as we're talking trailers, then let's continue with the wonderfully tiny segues and talk about Blade Runner.
We are more pro this week than we've ever been.
This is just awesome.
So, yeah, Blade Runner 2049. Now, we've both been a little bit wary about this, I think.
I think that's putting it very, very mildly in my terms.
Like, I tweeted about it. When I found out that Ridley Scott wasn't directing it, a whole weight was lifted off my shoulder. Because I did not want him to fucking Prometheus Blade Runner, you know? Now, the trailer doesn't give very much away in terms of plot. So we can't really speak to what we think the film's going to be about or how excited we are with that regard. But visually,
I think the looks and the
really,
aesthetic,
really good.
Yeah, the looks and the aesthetic of it seem to have nailed it.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the synth. I know it's not a Vangelis synth. No, it's Johansson, I think, is the composer for this. It should, by the way, be Tom Raybould, who did the score for The Machine, which is a cracking synth-laden score, which is more Vangelis-like than anything I've heard in a long time. But yeah, no, the 2049, I'm actually on board with it. Like, I'm cautiously optimistic. I know some people have sort of railed against Jared Leto.
I think he looked very good in the trailer.
Yeah. And I think people are still pissed at the Joker.
I think it's still repercussions of Joker.
But let's not forget, Jared Leto was an Oscar winner.
Indeed.
So,
and he's done some fucking amazing stuff, and it's not just in recent times. 30 Seconds to Mars are a fucking awesome band. I love them to bits.
He has a real appreciation
and Fight Club and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I think he's criminally underrated for a lot of the stuff he does.
So yeah, I'm not got a problem with him. Not a problem with any of the cast. The cast look great.
Yep.
I'm actually a massive Ryan Gosling fan. I think
Ryan Young Goose.
Some of his films are absolutely cracking.
They are, and I think the thing, as I said to you earlier on, I think the thing that kind of gives me a little bit of hope of how good he's going to be in this is his performance in Drive.
Yep.
And I think that very much fits that Blade Runner aesthetic.
Yeah, very much so. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I have my concerns.
Of course, and I think both of us are going to have our concerns, after Ghost in the Shell and a whole bunch of other stuff that's happened recently, I think that, the potential drama around Ready Player One, then I think that Blade Runner is poised in the middle of both of those for us, and I think it's a very, very difficult time for someone to be trying to continue something that is so well regarded.
Yeah, I think my concern is that it will fall into
just a standard actioner.
Yeah, a very generic actioner. Blade Runner was a postmodern masterpiece, mainly because the source content. Philip K. Dick's book was postmodern. He was a massive postmodern writer.
And it was also, it was made and released when postmodernism was a very big thing. People were very, very concerned around the dangers of technology and so forth, whereas I think the contemporary audience is not quite so against technology now. So that's why I think postmodernism is very, very difficult to achieve.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of Ghost in the Shell fell over, was because it was trying to rewrite it to be about humans mixed with technology rather than just about what technology can achieve on its own.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned it's going to do the same thing in Blade Runner, that postmodernism is no longer the thing that it was, and it's now, I guess, more post-humanism than postmodernism.
I'm not sure. Well, like I said at the start, we can't really comment on the plot, but a shared concern, I think.
Yeah, indeed. So it worries me, but again, I can't slam it until I've seen it.
Yeah.
And that was my whole thing with Ghost in the Shell, is I couldn't slam it until I'd seen it, and then I'll quite happily slam it.
Yeah.
But I will wait and see. It's a continuation. It's not a reboot. I think if it had been a reboot, I'd be a lot more reticent. If it had been a remake of
if it had been a reboot, I'd have been pissed.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. I'd be a lot more upset and a lot more anti it, but because it's a continuation of the story, it's fine. Although it upsets me that it's cementing an unanswered question about Deckard.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think
That upsets me, because that's always been a big bone of contention with the original film and the original plot.
Yeah, and there's the hint of it in the trailer when he says, "I'm here to ask you a few questions." About Harrison Ford's
Is it
face.
going to be a Voight camp?
Yeah. Is it that sort of thing? So, yeah, we'll see.
We will.
But more optimistic about it than we have been for a while. So that's a plus.
Yes, well, I'm actually vaguely optimistic, which is the first time it's happened. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I guess on to other stuff that is unrelated. So let's talk Doctor Who and American Gods. Which one do you want to tackle first?
We'll carry on from last time with Doctor Who, I think. Okay. Last time we were 2 for 2, now we're 4 for 4.
I'm not convinced with 4 for 4. I didn't enjoy Knock Knock.
Really? Oh.
Not as much as you did, I don't think. It was an okay story. I think, compared to the others, it felt like a bit of a filler. The plot felt very contrived, and it seems to stick out like a sore thumb in the middle of it as to why they're all there and why they're involved. It doesn't seem like a normal Doctor storyline.
Oh, for me, it felt great. I thought David Suchet as the landlord was spectacular, especially once the reveal happens at the end and you realise that actually he's the kid and it's his mother. Like, the way he plays the kid as the old man was incredible. I thought the effects on his mother when she was wooden was actually pretty good. But the part for me that really shit me up, and I tweeted about this because I'm 36, I'm too old to be freaked out by Doctor Who, god damn it, was when they knock on the door of the guy who fancies Bill.
Yeah.
And he gets the knock back.
And then it starts reverberating around.
So I was watching on headphones as well, but that sent fucking chills through me. Yeah, the story... Okay, I can kind of see the contrivance of these little creatures and everything. They basically had a really good idea of how to freak someone out.
And then came up with a crappy excuse.
So I can kind of concede to that.
I'd have been happier with ghosts or something, I don't know, but...
I'd have been happy with a ghost light sort of story.
Yeah. I just think... I think just for me, it felt a little bit too contrived, a little bit too cheesy.
However, the character work between the Doctor and Bill...
Oh God, yeah.
...was as phenomenal.
Don't get me wrong, I think this is Capaldi's series.
Yeah. I had a long chat on Twitter with a couple of people about this as well. This is the best sort of performance we've seen from a Doctor in recent years.
Yep, I will agree with you wholeheartedly.
He has the quiet assuredness of Sylvester McCoy.
I love that it's now back to the kind of earthbound third Doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. I think someone commented that Capaldi in this series is like Tom Baker trying to be John Pertwee.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good.
I think it's great, and I'm hoping it continues. And I don't know. I guess my thoughts on who's behind the door is it's got to be the Master.
Yeah, of course it is.
But which version?
I think it's John Sims.
You think it's John Sims?
I think it's the Master.
Because I think it's Missy.
No, I think it's the Master. I think
right.
It's Master, not Missy Master.
Because I think it's Missy behind there, and I think that we're going to see Missy get the John Sim Master back later.
Okay.
That's my thoughts.
But it's obviously the Master.
I'm looking forward to how that plays out, and they are nice little bits at the end of episodes at the moment.
They are, and it shows the relationship between the Doctor and the Master.
Yes, really, and I think better than it has in a while.
Yeah. But so far, for me, 4 for 4.
Yeah, I think I was slightly let down by Knock Knock. Don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near as bad as any episodes that have happened
last couple of seasons.
But I think this series is still the strongest that we've seen in a long time. And we went to the Doctor Who experience.
You did, didn't you?
We did, and we went Torchwood hunting around Cardiff, and that was awesome. So yeah, we found the entrance to Torchwood.
Yeah, all I could do was just watch endlessly as your photos came up online.
And it was great, and the Doctor Who experience was fantastic. We weren't sure what we were expecting, and it was a nice kind of in-character walkthrough type thing, where the guide has conversations with Capaldi's Doctor on a screen.
Oh, brilliant.
So it's all acted and it's all done through. So you do that, and you go through various time periods. So you go to Skaro, then you go to I can't remember what the other planet was, but then you go to you start on Gallifrey Museum, then you go to Skaro, and then you go into the TARDIS. So you're in the console room, and everybody has to hold onto a joystick and stuff. And it's great to get everyone involved. And then you end up at Totter's Lane, and you walk through Totter's Lane, and then eventually you get stranded in the 60s. Is how it plays out, and then you walk through the museum. So it was really cool. It's kind of like Alien War moved on many steps from when I did Alien War when I was a teenager.
Nice.
So it was really cool. And then we wandered around Cardiff. We went to Yanto's shrine down at the Torchwood entrance, and Megan had a single man tear. So it was great, and thoroughly enjoyed that. And, I think we'll go back to Cardiff again to have a bit more of an explore, because it was.
That's cool. Yeah, I like Cardiff. Cardiff is nice.
It was our first time there, so it was really cool, and we enjoyed we went there, did the Doctor Who experience, then checked in the hotel, and then just started wandering around Torchwood spotting.
Yeah, I went to see Incubus there. God, it must be about 9-10 years ago now.
Okay.
And went for took a weekend break, and got around to Cardiff. It's a nice city.
You know what? When I saw Incubus, they were the first support band on before Korn in 1996.
Jesus.
That was back when they were a ska punk outfit.
Oh yeah, back in the Enjoying.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, there you go. Okay, let's leave that be.
They have a new album, man.
I know they do.
It's really 8.
It's 8. Sorry,
no,
it's 8.
Really
good. I
good.
listened to it the other day. It's really good.
Really good.
Yeah, I was listening to it the other day. Yeah, enjoying it. Still loving Incubus. Yeah. I've always liked Incubus as a band. So yeah.
Cool. So American Gods then. Where's the next? That's 3 for 2.
What can I say?
Well, it's awesome.
It's fucking amazing.
The first episode, was everything I think I wanted, but didn't realise I wanted it.
And the second episode, I could sit and watch Peter Stormare as Chernabog all day.
And Gillian Anderson as Media.
Yeah. Oh, Gillian Anderson was stunning as Media. I Love Lucy, that whole bit was just wonderful.
Chernabog. And Mr. Nancy was well cast as well.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing more Mr. Nancy in episodes to come, but I honestly could have watched Peter Stormare all day, and that was perfect. That it took up pretty much the entire episode, absolutely fine with me, and could happily have had more.
Yeah.
He is my fantasy casting for that part, and he's in it, and he is as good as I thought he would be.
Yeah.
Cannot fault it.
No. No.
Literally cannot fault it. I think I guess my only minor thing would be they didn't focus on Laura coming back enough in that first sequence. So when Shadow wakes up and Laura is at the end of the bed and talking to him.
Oh, in episode 2.
Yeah. They didn't spend enough time doing that conversation.
No. Yeah.
That's the only thing for me. It was very, very quick.
She just says, he said I was dead, puppy.
And then that was it. Yeah. That needed more for me.
Yeah. I think they might spread that out though.
Well, I think they are, and I think they're trying to build the mystery around that It's just that I know what's happening and why. So, yeah, I just wanted to get on with it. There is a certain amount of me watching this guy just get on with it until Peter Stormare turned up. I'm just like, no, let's carry on with this scene all day. Quite happily watching this all day. But I'm very much looking forward to next episode and seeing how the other sister is portrayed.
Yeah. I think for me, the one thing I remember most from reading the book is the first scene with Bilquist. So I was really intrigued to see how they were going to handle that.
Yes, I was, and I was surprised at how they did.
Yeah.
It didn't go the way I thought it would.
No.
And then they did it again in episode 2 and did more of it. And, it works. It works in a way that I just never kind of... I kind of saw it in much more of a, I don't know, kind of arachnidy, insecty type of way that, she was dislocating herself and literally swallowing someone rather than...
Actually pushing them in as well.
Yeah. So... yeah, it was a bit different to how I imagined it, but still, very fucking brave of a TV show to go down that way. The amount of nudity in this is insane. They're not afraid to show a penis in this.
They're really not.
Which is, that I think that's brilliant, and I love the fact that they're going down the route of making a big deal over what happened with Laura and Robbie.
Yeah. It's not HBO, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's Stars.
It's Stars. Yeah.
The Stars are Swords and Sandals. They're Spartacus.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So they're no strangers to the odd dick, as I know.
Indeed, yeah. They're quite happy to have throbbing members kicking around on set all day.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair point. But yeah, I thought it was HBO for a second, but then it's on Amazon. It's Stars.
Yeah. But no, fucking amazing job. I was a bit gutted they cut it off where they did with the checkers match. I thought I was expecting them to at least go one line further. And I can't say it.
Can't say it.
No, I
spoilers
can't.
for people.
Yeah, indeed. So I'm not going to say it.
I finally got my copy of the comic as well.
Yeah, I saw it.
I finally got issue 1 of it eventually, which basically finishes with the Bilquist scene.
Yeah.
The first comic finishes with the Bilquist scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I am liking the kind of coming to America interludes.
Yes.
They're very good. They're very well done. The Mr. Nancy one I thought was so well done.
Yeah. And the Viking one was great as well. In episode 1.
I'm looking forward to seeing some more of those. Yeah. So yes, American Gods, totally everything I hoped it was going to be and more. Just more Peter Stormare. Because I could literally watch him all day.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think what the first thing was that I saw him in. I don't know, because I know he's in Constantine as Satan, and he's genius in the film.
Is he not in Prison Break?
He is in Prison Break, yes, but I think I'd seen Constantine before Prison Break, so I'm trying to remember what the first thing was that I saw him in, and I can't honestly remember, but he's been utterly brilliant in everything I've ever seen him in, and he's note perfect for that role.
Yeah. Well, the casting as a whole has been fantastic, to be honest. Yeah. I think Ian McShane's Mr. Wednesday is perfect. And I love the fact that it's really, really subtle that one of his eyes is slightly off colour to the other.
Yeah, and looks slightly glassy at times, and they've done a really, really good subtle job of that.
Yeah, really enjoy that. If you look for it, you can't spot it. There's moments where you just catch a glimpse of his right eye being slightly off.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good. So well done.
Yes. So well done, Stars. And everyone involved in that show. It is perfect. So fair play to you.
Yeah. Cool.
What have we got left? Have we got anything left?
Well, Eddie.
Yes.
So I think one of the cool things about doing a podcast is when people come up to you and say, we've got this film, it's going around the festival circuit, would you mind giving it a watch?
Watch it and see what you think.
I go, yes, of course. So I got sent a screen link for this little short film called Eddie. Billed as a dark comedy, sort of sci-fi horror type of thing. We watched it just before the show. What are your first impressions?
I enjoyed it. I think I very much knew where it was going from a couple of minutes in. I think it was probably about quarter of the way through. I said to you what I thought was happening, and yeah, it was. It was spot on. But it's enjoyable. It's an interesting kind of sci-fi bleak horror romp.
Yeah, I think it has that Moon-esque fulfillment of where the lead and where the subject and the Doctor end up going towards the end.
I think for me it was very, very reminiscent of a game I played not so long ago. I was dying to play it at EGX when we went last year, but I never managed to get to it. It was a Green Man gaming one called The Bunker, which is a kind of live action it's not even first person. It's a live action adventure game in the same way as the Quantic Dream ones are, but rather than being 3D CGI stuff, it's actually live action footage. So it was very, very reminiscent of that. And so I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a nice take on that kind of idea.
Yeah, it follows a doctor and his test subject called Eddie, who doesn't say a word, doesn't interact. Is more or less a zombie, or they're not sure why, whether it's zombie virus or radiation poisoning or what. It's never explicitly stated.
I'm going to go with radiation poisoning.
Yeah, I'd go with that as well. And there's basically one man trying to
understand and catalogue another subject.
Understand this unresponsive subject, so it falls into themes of loneliness,
isolation,
monotony and routine,
post-apocalyptic, but done in a very British post-apocalyptic way that it's in the arse end of nowhere.
And when I say Moon-esque, if you say Moon, you possibly know where it's going, but you also know what I mean about dealing with the isolation that comes from not just being on your own, but being stuck in a routine as well.
Yeah,
so it tackles that. I think it needs to stick with a theme, because you get the very sort of comedy melody with the title when it comes up, and I don't think it needs to play it funny at all. I think it works better in like the last half of it, when it's getting tenser and the Doctor is clearly beginning to struggle with the stress of being alone.
I'm trying to remember who it is that the Doctor reminds, because there's an actor that I keep seeing in my mind that I think should be playing that. He's an Irish guy. He's a comedian, and I think he should be that character of the Doctor. Is it David
Doherty?
Yes.
Yeah.
David Doherty. I think that's who I see in that role.
I don't know. I was alright with the casting.
No, I was totally fine with the casting. It's just when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, that would be perfect for him. But that was
So I think it tackled those themes. It looked at those themes for sure. It certainly tackled them in the reveal towards the end.
I really enjoyed the music of it. I thought the soundtrack was excellent.
Yes. The soundtrack was. I'm an audio guy.
Well, indeed, yeah.
So
I
always look for the technical sound elements in a film, and some of them, like there are some footsteps right towards the end where the Foley is just off. It's marginal, but it's just enough.
For me, it was the first sound effect of the film was that creaky gate sound effect that's used in fucking everything.
But visually, it was really good. It's a really lovely shot selection. It's just a really well put together film. Well, you can see why it's won 4 awards already.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a great concept. It's very, very well executed, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, so it's won for best makeup, best horror makeup.
I think the makeup, certainly the makeup, I think was one of the best things about it. It was very, very well done,
and it's won a best horror film as well. So yeah,
it's always nice when a short film can appeal to multiple genres.
Yeah.
I've always loved that. That's why I always love Neil Gaiman stuff, because it always crosses genres.
Yeah, it's solid. It's a really good piece of film.
Well done.
Would recommend.
Hope it goes on.
So it is due for release in July, and it's designed as part of a larger ongoing series. It's kind of a proof of concept of an idea. So I think in the longer series, if it gets picked up, we'll find out more answers to some of the questions like, well, what's the fascination with that pen?
I got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know whether I can go into it now, but no, I can't, because it'll spoil it.
Okay.
The pen is a spoiler.
Explain it to me afterwards.
Yeah, I will do.
Because I obviously missed it. Damn it. But yeah, it's solid. It's really, really good. A few very minor technical issues with some of the audio, but the story.
That's just because you're in there.
Yeah, it's because I'm an audio nerd. But the story, the filming, the performances, all really, really good.
So well done, everyone. Awesome.
Keep an eye out for Eddie coming in July. Cool. I think we've smashed everything in.
I think we have, sir. I think we've managed everything in our allotted time.
Okay, so looking towards the next episode, we'll be doing a UK Games Expo preview, because we'll be coming towards that.
Yep. We're hitting end of season finales for pretty much all of this season's shows.
Yep. Spindles will be talking me down off the ledge because I'll be seeing Alien Covenant this week.
I really don't relish that task, folks.
So we'll have reviews of Alien Covenant and reviews of Colossal by the time the next tape.
Record.
Jesus.
God damn it, you turned 80s.
Yeah, so that's coming up next time. But that's all for this show. So...
You know how the show ends, yeah?
Yeah, sure. Thanks everyone for listening. I've been Brendan.
I've been Spindle.
And until next time, take care and be excellent to each other.
See, you do know how it ends.
Ta-da!